Good morning. Still morning, Sunday, July 13th, 2025. Happy Bastille Day, day early here for those who celebrate in France and Francophone countries. Wow, what a weekend. 2025. So check out my Substack. I don't have it up, but Goldfinger Capital, I just put quite a bit of effort into really trying to frame the macro that we're entering, that we're now in after the big beautiful bill passed, and really what it means. And that's going to be a template that I'll continue to write from and expound upon over the coming months as we get deeper into what is to come in the second half of 2025. And I don't think there's going to be any dull moments over the next 6 months or 5.5 months. This is quite a time. This is quite a time to be alive, quite a time for financial markets. And, we all know about Trump and Powell. This has been months of Trump insulting him and bashing him and telling everybody how dumb he is and a moron and he should cut 300 basis points, et cetera, et cetera. It's rhetoric, it's talk, but underneath that is a very strong desire to remove Chairman Powell as Federal Reserve Chairman. Okay, there's a very strong desire, and spoiling public sentiment further against the Fed and Powell is sort of the first step in the operation. And now it's actually, the operation is underway here, full swing. So White House economic advisor Hassett was on ABC this morning doing an interview. He said quite a few things about Trump, Fed, and the Powell. And basically, to summarize it, if there is cause, Trump has authority to do so. So what does that mean? Okay, so as far as monetary policy goes, Powell cannot be removed for a disagreement over monetary policy choices, right? So whether to cut or not to cut or whatever, evidently that's not grounds for prematurely removing a Fed chair. But what is potentially grounds to do so is Federal Reserve budget, testimony to Congress. Obviously, when he testifies to Congress, it's under oath. Did he lie about anything or, purposely leave an omission that was important? So there's lots of things that they could find, right? And it's interesting because you have this Hassett quote: "If there is cause to fire Powell, Trump has authority to do so." And then this guy subtweets, "Show me the man and I'll find you the crime." And that's what this feels like. That's really what this feels like. I mean, you know, there's doing a renovation at the Federal Reserve right now. See, the building that was built in the early 1900s is being renovated, and evidently the budget has increased, as construction budgets are prone to do in the United States in the 2020s. The budget went over, right? And so it's $2.5 billion renovation of 3 office buildings. Well, I can assure you, if one of Trump's henchmen, one of these guys, wants to take the effort and spend a few weeks going through every line item of this $2.5 billion renovation, they're going to find something. They're going to find something. And who knows what that will be, whether it's $5 million expenditure on one item or 50 million, I don't know. But they're going to find something, I guarantee it. So the writing's on the wall here. Okay, Powell is going to get fried in front of Congress on this $2.5 billion renovation. And they're going to find something that he either excluded or something that wasn't necessary, that was excessive spending, or whatever it is, right? You can guarantee it. A $2.5 billion budget, I guarantee you Powell did not go through every single line item of that in excruciating detail. And there's going to be some, call it waste. I don't know. but you can pretty much guarantee that. And all of Trump's sycophants like this guy Fishback, he's just constantly pandering to Trump on X, and there's a bunch of guys like him. And the case is that inflation is low enough that we should cut rates. But and I don't disagree. I mean, the Fed could certainly cut a quarter point next week or the week after. It wouldn't be a problem. It's not like inflation would skyrocket on a quarter point. But what we have to look at is just the Fed's mandate: full employment, stable 2% inflation. So inflation is like 2.5% right now, and unemployment is 4.1%. So there's nothing in the data, the entirety of the economic data in the U.S. right now. There's nothing in it that says the Fed has made an error and has to act like urgently, right? There's nothing. Just that's the way it is. There's nothing in the data that says the Fed has to act urgently. Now, if we go back to last year and that 50 basis point rate cut in September, look, hindsight is 2020. I voted for Trump in November, but I'll be honest, I thought the Fed did the right thing in September last year based upon the data that I was seeing in real time. It felt like the economy had really dropped off at the end of the summer in August, and they were just too tight and they had to get it down. And then there was a Q4 rebound, right? And hindsight is 2020, and that's the thing. Like, when I speak to traders, like, they'll get what I'm saying. Like, the Fed did that rate cut in September of last year based upon what it was seeing then. It didn't have the luxury of seeing another month or two of data and then going back in time, right? And that's just like markets. We're trading the chart, we're trading the setup as it is, and then we get more information and more data, and we say, oh, we should have done it that way. But that's not the way the world works. You have to make choices in real time based upon the best data you have, and sometimes those decisions are wrong, right? But that's the way it is, right? We can't do everything and say everything and see everything in hindsight. That's not how the world works, right? um so just based upon the situation, Powell's not doing anything wrong right now. Like, the Fed is not. And there is a lot of uncertainty based upon all this tariff and trade stuff. And that's created by Trump and his policy advisors. That's the facts. So I think Powell actually, when we look back on this episode a few years from now, Powell will actually look good but by having held fire and not given in. That's my opinion. Now, I'm just going to assume that Trump's going to get his way because, again, show me the man, show me the crime. They're going to find something on Powell. And Trump has the power. The Republican Senate and House has the power. And Trump's loyalists in places of power throughout the federal government have the power. So I'm just going to assume they're going to find something. He's going to be gone here in a month or two, or he just might say, I'm done next week. I don't know, but he's going to be gone. The writing is on the wall. I'd be very surprised if he survives to next year. But now this is very dangerous, and I'm not sure Trump fully understands what he's messing with here, right? And I agree with this quote: we are in a high stakes moment in the history of the Federal Reserve. They are going to remove him, and then a loyalist will be installed. The market consequences of this could be very far reaching. And this Bloomberg article was fantastic, and I think it's spot on. Deutsche Bank strategist basically saying that it's underpriced, that the market is not getting that this could really happen, and the dollar would likely get destroyed, and treasury yields would soar. Okay, this is Fed independence is sacred, right? It's not something to be messed with because the whole dollar, reserve global currency system. The dollar is the foundation of global trade, the number one, reserve asset and currency. It rests on Fed independence and clarity of monetary policy making from the Fed. It's really that simple. So if a Trump loyalist who is bowing to political um, politics and the influence of the president, then that independence is lost. And the consequences of that and the damage to the Fed as an institution would be profound. I mean, I can't even imagine how profound it would be. And that's why I don't think Trump really realizes what he's messing with here. Hopefully his Treasury Secretary does, but, I don't know. These guys are sycophants, and they want to constantly demonstrate their loyalty to the boss. It's like a mafia sort of thing. It's very strange. It's strange what happens to men and women when they go to Washington D.C. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about the Epstein thing and Bondi, and then Trump's tweet about guys and gals or whatever. What is going on? Like, this is weird, man. It's a really weird time, and it's hard to have confidence in leadership, if that's a word we can use, leadership. So anyway, Treasury yields are going to freaking soar if they get rid of Powell. I mean, I'm not even sure 5% will be the limit on the 10-year. It might go above that. The dollar has had this weak, now this is a bear market bounce if I've ever seen one, right? Like, this is such a weak, shallow, timid bounce. I mean, this is the dollar was at 110 on the dollar index in January, dropped to 96, and now we're barely getting back to 98. That's a dead counter, man. And I actually wouldn't. This rally might go to 99, maybe 99.50, but then I would say it will stop dead in its tracks. And certainly, if Trump 2.0 removes Powell prematurely, dollar index will go into the 80s. I mean, that's my call on this. And I really think that, Bitcoin obviously trades over the weekend, hit 119,000. This is front running the train wreck that is to come if Trump carries out this plan, right? And just knowing him and his ego, after all these tweets and all these negative, painful insults of his Fed chair that he appointed in 2017, I don't see how he walks it back and then just quietly sits there until mid 2026 to appoint a new Fed chair. I just don't see how he walks it back, right? He might just run the train off the tracks just so he can be right about this. That's the reality of the situation. Narcissists are very dangerous at times, and they could ruin, they can damage everything around them. Gold has been this consolidation for a few weeks now. We're bouncing a bit, but it's definitely being outrun by silver, by platinum now, and that's fine. This is how a precious metals bull market plays out. Gold's not always in the lead. Sometimes the other metals take the lead, and that's actually a healthy sign. That's a bullish sign. So platinum, new multi-year high, new multi-year closing high on Friday. That's a bull market. So many people trying to fade this rally. All I read is people trying to sell platinum and fade this platinum rally. So far, they're wrong. This is a bull market, guys. And when you have to zoom this out to get the context, this is a 4 or 5 year base that we're breaking out from. And they want to sell it into the first breakout. That's not generally a prudent move. I mean, you're trying to pick up pennies in front of a steamroller trying to get in front of this kind of breakout. And then silver, I mean, there's just a work of art. I haven't been posting a ton of silver charts. A lot of people doing it for me, but this is a TA 101 breakout with this 6-week consolidation around 35, 36, and then the end of last week breakout, MACD bull cross. I mean, this is a work of art. There's not much more to say. And I really think the metals, Bitcoin, and now maybe the junior miners are the outlet valve for people seeing this Fed Trump 2.0 Powell train wreck that is previously in slow motion. It's now speeding up a bit, and it's scary. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you get value from my content, please hit the like and subscribe button. I really appreciate your time and viewership, and have a powerful trading week.